I will flat out tell you that on my 700 song Spotify playlist, they don't have a song on it. Okay. So that's number one.
They don't. Right.
However, there are a lot of people, by the way, it's a nice album. What are you playing tennis later?
We're going to play cricket and then maybe some badminton. First of all, don't get in my grill, Stone Pony.
Hold on. I don't know if you can
Pony,
see the
what year?
74.
74. Yo, Asbury Park.
Stone Pony is great.
You're going to meet Gary U.S. Bonds or Southside Johnny.
Bruce walks in every once in a while. I mean, he spends time there. It's one of the great establishments.
Do you consider yourself a Jersey guy now? I mean,
no.
because you grew up in Croton. We've talked about this all the time. Yeah. You were a New York kid.
Yeah.
You Jersey guys love your Stone Pony. I hear it's a great music venue. I'm not in your grill on that. Kudos to the Stone Pony for carving out a scene. What were you about? Was it your 40th birthday? You were down there in 1974?
That's exactly right. The opening of the Stone Pony for my 40th birthday. But this band, I don't think has ever played the Stone Pony. But 34 years ago today, they released what a lot of people think is one of the top 5 albums, a quintessential album of all time. Now, I will tell you, the members of this band, some of the names are just iconic. I mean, there are 5 guys in this band before the names are just,
wow,
just crazy names, like all nicknames, basically.
Okay. All right. So these guys are the essence of rock and roll. So 34 years ago, that was 87.
Yes, it was.
I was a junior at Georgetown.
Sure, you were.
And the album that I think changed my world was Appetite for Destruction.
Bang.
So
well done.
And the reason what caught that is, I mean, I think you're referring to the fact that we have now one word named Slash. Axel, Duff is pushing it, but I mean, Duff might be my favorite. Duff McKagan, Lydia Q, our former executive producer, used to send me pictures of me next to Duff. I'm not saying that, but just it was kind of like who's who. I love the band. That is a top 10 all timer. I mean,
of course Izzy Stradlin. I mean, Izzy it's tremendous.
Izzy Stradlin. Izzy Stradlin. What? I mean, that's an absurd name. So Izzy's no longer in the band. Like the band as it started out, I don't even know what, but look, they were kind of like Halen and kind of like other bands. Like you can't call that metal. And yet they were the inspiration for so many other hair metal bands that came really off the Sunset Strip, frankly. The LA music scene in the 80s was dominant. Sweet Child of Mine to me is a top 10 rock and roll song. The composition, the different pieces of it. I'm going to say something a little controversial. I think Slash is overrated as a guitarist.
Wow. I like that. And I didn't know this. I had to look it up. I mean, this name I've never heard, but Steve Adler. On the
Steve
drums.
Adler. So Steven Adler, he was in one of those first celebrity rehabs. And that's how most people know him. He's got nice locks, man. He had a nice like blonde perm. And I don't think Steven's with us anymore.
Really?
God rest his soul.
That's unfortunate. I'm sorry I brought that up. So I would submit, see what you think about this. I think the greatest GNR, and I wince when I say that because I typically don't, but the greatest Guns N' Roses song to me was not on that album. I think it's November Rain. Thoughts, Tim Seymour?
Well, November Rain, you liked it because I think the video has a couple starlets in it too. I think, first of all, who was he dating? Who was Axl dating? Wasn't it Stephanie Seymour?
Perhaps.
I think it was my namesake. And who's not only a huge fan of Commercial Break, but family reunions are a good time. And yeah, look, that Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, they did the unthinkable. So at the peak of their career, can you imagine walking into your label, as we call them in the biz, and saying, rather than rush something out there and take advantage of all of our popularity right now, we want to spend about 3 years putting out a double CD. Mm-hmm. By the way, more music than we need to deliver right now, and more music than anyone's going to really listen to. And they did. And actually, I know those albums don't get credit for being extraordinary, but with all that we were expecting from GNR, the fact that they delivered, and I think that, that's impressive. And so I wouldn't say November Rain. And in fact, they also snuck out that Patience, that little, some heavy whistle. I got a decent Patience whistle, by the way. Anyway, I could go on all day.
That's a nice
job. Right?
job.
It's not bad.
So here's my question to you, real quick: was Appetite for were they guilty of their own? Like, did that success of that album lead to the downfall of killed them?
They
victims of their own success.
They were basically the cliche of a VH1 behind the music special, right? I mean, the guys, they overindulged in everything. Some point they all hated each other. They all thought that they were the creative influence in the band. And it's better to burn out than to fade away. What's amazing is that they've come back, and for Father's Day, this guy right here was given a couple GNR tickets for the Meadowlands coming up in a month or so. So I don't know if I'll be swinging by the Stone Pony, but I'll be heading down to Jersey, maybe a case of beer in the car, sitting in the parking lot for a couple hours, pre-gaming with my wife, by the way, who's not afraid to do that either. What will I be wearing? I'll probably unearth an old. I've got a GNRT from the late '80s. I've probably already customized it. The sleeves are off, and that's where I'm going. But look, there's a line in, I forget which song it is, but I used to love her, but I had to kill her.
Sure.
And I think that's actually off of that single CD that they snuck out before Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. But you get some sense that there's a handful of stocks in the market that no longer have the kind of following that they had. And in fact, a lot of people feel that way. A couple of them. Netflix has reported in the last couple of days. I'm going to throw Tesla out there. I think even all the Grommets and the Reddits and all these cats that were hanging on Elon's every word. I wouldn't say they want to kill Tesla as a stock, but I do think that there's just not the same kind of following around some of these cult stocks anymore. What say you?
I love what you did there. I used to love her, but I had to kill her. Netflix, you've brought it up a number of times. Since basically April of last year, stock's been in this 480 to 550 range, done nothing on a broader market that's been extraordinarily. And Tesla, since their earnings release, when stock was trading 725, I mean, it hasn't sniffed that level, maybe close, but I mean, it's went significantly sub 600 for a while. So I think you make a great point. Maybe those have burned out and faded away. It's interesting.
Well, and then on today's tape, it's a day when cyclicality is back in the market, and you get the sense that there's a number of those popular cyclical names, whether it's a GM or whether it's some of the commodities names that are maybe dancing with Mr. Brownstone again. I mean, the question is, when you're dancing with Mr. Brownstone, you're actually taking yourself into a dangerous place, and I think what's implied by that song actually is that you're taking a dance with the devil. And I believe, by the way, this is a reference to doing heroin, which, of course, on Commercial Break, we are very anti. But I think, the GNR references, we could run through we'll have to save this for another day. But I mean, I think, Sweet Child of Mine is ultimately not only one of the great rock and roll songs of all time, but Sweet Child of Mine is really what I think the Fed thinks about the market and the asset bubble that it's created, because that's what they're trying to do. And here we are, a couple of days off of some really dangerous levels in the market right now, and it looks like
anything goes.
We're back in the jungle, man.
Anything goes, which is another song on that album. I mean, we just broke down, Appetite for Destruction in the market, which is genius. But I'm thrilled that you were able to get. That's a great job by you. A great nickname band. Not on my Spotify playlist, not one song, although maybe November Rain should be. I'm going to add it now. And we're going to talk again.
Well, look, despite the glaring omission of Appetite for Destruction, Guy, you're one in a million. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Later.